This video has been sponsored by Tokyo Treat and Sakurako.
Kawaki and Code will change the shinobi world forever, and Momoshiki already knows about this. Their actions could lead to another shinobi war, which has been foreshadowed from a long time in the series. So what steps taken by them will take us to the ruins of the Timeskip, along with its aftermath? Let's find out. The foresight power of Momoshiki had made him aware of the omnipotence incident almost 70 chapters before it happened. He knew about everything that would lead Boruto there. That's why he helped Kawaki in chapter 78, cause it was the only way for him to reach his desired destiny. While his predictions of taking over Boruto did not come true, thanks to Sarada, it's pretty much clear that his shinjutsu to look into the future puts him above all characters. He can literally look at the chessboard of fate and make the most wise and suitable move as per the circumstances. This means he must be aware of Kawaki and Code's actions as well. Maybe that's why he wanted to take over Boruto, cause he believes they could pose harm to his vessel. His original plan must have been to escape the planet after taking over the permanent control of Boruto. But are these two Kama warriors really that big of a bad news? Well, the omnipotence has certainly led to some developments in their mindsets, which made them capable of waging a war-like situation. As for Code, he was originally after the life of Kawaki, but now that he's determined to kill Boruto instead, things will certainly take a much darker turn. The very first point which hints at that happening has something to do with the contrast in the eyes of Boruto and Code. Boruto's full moon eye Jogen symbolizes a star of hope, while the pitch red eyes of Code symbolize the blood moon. The blood moon is known as a symbol of apocalypse across many traditions, which can be taken as a hint that Code will be responsible for all the destruction of Konoha. His 10-tailed army is powerful enough to bring even the strongest to their knees, and the only person who must be able to defeat him is none other than Kawaki. The eye of the red Kama warrior looks like an eclipse, which symbolizes drastic new beginnings or turning points. As far as I know, the symbolism of the eclipse might be a reference to the end of Shinobi Age that will mark a new beginning across the whole world. Now the question remains, how would Kawaki deal with Code, and what could be its possible aftermath? Before going further, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, Tokyo Treat and Sakurako. Tokyo Treat is a monthly pop Japanese snack subscription box filled with up to 20 of the most exclusive limited edition and seasonal flavored Japanese snacks that are only available in Japan for a limited time. Sakurako, on the other hand, is a monthly authentic Japanese snack subscription box which is supporting Japanese snack makers. This month's Tokyo Treat box is Okinawa Seaside Snacking, which is filled with the mouthwatering flavors of Okinawa through the snacks like Okinawa Potatoes Chinsu, chilled Hiyashi Ramen, and special Kit Kat cookies. While Sakurako this month has collaborated with Nico City to bring you guys a special collection of traditional treats and teas that beautifully capture the essence of Nico's glorious past. They both come with this awesome booklet that gives you information on all the snacks in the box, as well as some fun facts about Japan. So this time I went for the cookie and cream flavored Kit Kats that were really incredible as always. The special thing about them is that they really taste like ice cream, which makes them a perfect summertime treat. Then I enjoyed the juicy pineapple gummies that were incredibly sweet, and their juicy pineapple essence was just perfect. Then I went for Kokia salted caramel chips that were a fusion of sweet, salty and savory flavors. Then I headed over to the Sakurako box where I found this special item, patchwork furoshiki. It can be used as a handkerchief bandana or even a bento box wrap. As for the treats, I started off with this fish-shaped delight, which is known as the Waka Ayu marshmallow. Its sweet and soft texture was really mouth-watering, and this sweet fish is renowned as a symbol of the season. Finally, I enjoyed these chocolate buns that were a delightful treat for my taste buds. With just a single bite, they became my most favorite treat from this month's delicacies of Sakurako. So if you guys are interested in getting your very own Tokyo Treat and Sakurako boxes, please check out the link in the description, and don't forget to use my code KASHI to get a $5 discount for your very first box. While I believe that Code is the one who's gonna bring a calamity to Konoha, the easiest way for Kawaki to deal with him must be to send all his minions to another dimension. This will drive him completely helpless, and as we can see, Kawaki wears a scarf whose fabric is similar to Code's outfit. It is very likely that Kawaki has defeated the White Kama Wielder before the events of the prologue scene. This event of winning against Code must have made the whole shinobi world yet again hail him, and that's when he must have brought up his master plan. I even feel like Kawaki might use him in his favor before ultimately betraying him. They both could have went along in the long run. However, Kawaki is an Otsutsuki hater while Code is the Otsutsuki worshipper. This different viewpoint towards the otherworldly beings will end up in their ultimate conflict. We shouldn't forget they both have the karmas, which is a symbol of desire in Hindu philosophy. They both can go to extreme ends in pursuit of fulfilling their greatest wishes. But since there is a pattern of constant L's in the legacy of Code, Kawaki winning over him is a huge possibility. It is also very likely that Bug will end up in becoming the main nuisance for Code, since the Bug is known to create problems in the computer code or program. Now that we know Kawaki is destined to be hailed all over the shinobi world, what exactly would make him change the shinobi system? Well, the defeat of Code is not the main goal of Kawaki. It is actually the extermination of Boruto, which seems to be his greatest goal at present. As we know from the time skip scene that his viewpoint is gonna shift sooner or later, cause he's no longer after Boruto's life. For those of you who see Kawaki as a truly evil person who deserves nothing but death, let me introduce you to an aspect that might change your mind. Kawaki does not have what it takes to be a moral person, at least before time skip, and here is why. The amount of horrifying mistreatment that he went through is enough to drive anyone crazy. Naruto gave him the light that he never saw, and he became blinded by it, mainly because all his life he was living in the darkness. Kawaki does recognize Boruto as his brother, and it was even reaffirmed by Aida in chapter 80. The way he said he will send him to his father in the prologue scene definitely reveals a lot about his character development. The reason I feel like he wants to preserve Boruto might be because he wishes to keep his whole family safe. As we know from the Naruto incident, the preservation has become the main idea for Kawaki as keeping someone safe and intact forever. He even tried to seal Boruto back in chapter 78, which also says a lot about the way he wants to fix things. The reason he trapped Boruto into becoming the Hokage killer could be because he wants him to give up and surrender himself to his will. The sentimental feelings of Kawaki are still there in the time skip. He just went borderline crazy. So what could have persuaded Kawaki to take the horrendous step of ending a centuries old system? It's pretty much clear that Kawaki has understood the shinobi system won't let the peace to prevail, similar to what Minato had realized about this regime. The person who would make Kawaki hold a grudge against the shinobis could be none other than Code himself. That's right. I feel like there is more to the karma connection that the warriors will be reflecting in the future. What I think is that Code's devotion to Otsutsukis must have something to do with his personal experiences. This means there is a tragic backstory to Code that hasn't been revealed yet. The reason I believe it's gonna be tragic is because of the criteria of the karma experiment. Jigen deliberately chose children who were abused or tortured cause that's what granted them the affinity to hold his karma. So what if when Code will reveal his backstory to Kawaki, it will make him think differently about the shinobis as well as the Otsutsukis. While he currently wants to hunt all the Otsutsukis, a meaningful conversation with Code can make him shift his focus to shinobis. But then the question arises, how would Kawaki deal with Code? I feel like when the apocalypse prophecy of Code will begin to actualize, he will reveal his backstory to Kawaki, whom he sees as the vessel of Momoshiki Boruto. He would tell him why Otsutsukis mean so much to him and why he desperately wants to kill the traitor of Ishiki without realizing he's talking to the same person. This mistake of lowering his guard would end up in his defeat, as Kawaki could use Daikoku 10 out of nowhere to seal him along with Naoto and Hinata. As I said earlier, he thinks Kawaki is the vessel of Momoshiki, so he must have no idea of him using the Dharma gun. Meanwhile, the speech of Code could have some sentimental impact on Kawaki, making him respect the struggle that he went through. This would make Kawaki inherit the desire of Code, and he would decide to take on the shinobi world, an all-out war on all the great nations, something no one in the shinobi history was able to accomplish. Maybe the reason he wears a scarf similar to Code is to pay respect to his teachings. The way Boruto and Kawaki's karma resonated make me think that these seals have something to do with the destiny of the Wielders. While they both had the seals of different Otsutsukis, they still shared some interesting tracks in their lifetime. Code and Kawaki being the subjects of the same Otsutsuki reflects the divine connection in their up and coming destinies. We shouldn't forget that Momoshiki knew about the greatest plot twist of the show from the very beginning. This raises the question about his foresight ability. How far can he look in the future, and can he predict the outcome of Kawaki's Shinobi War? From what I understood, Momoshiki's predictions only tell us the chances of him landing the dart. He was too certain about taking over Boruto, but it never happened because of the will of fire that the Otsutsuki child inherited. This means even though he must be well aware of Kawaki's role in the future, he won't be able to fully predict its aftermath. So what could be the best thing that Momoshiki could do during the Kawaki conflict? I feel like he would be teaching Boruto all the different shinjutsu, since there is no one else who could do so. After all, he wants to keep living inside Boruto. That's why he needs his vessel to cope up with the tough situations, especially because there is no way left for him to take full control of Boruto's body. He might appear sometimes when Boruto runs low on chakra, but a complete takeover is far from reality. Coming back to Kawaki's Shinobi War, the revolt of a former Hokage's son would definitely confuse everyone. The Great
nations will have no choice but to exterminate him. However, his Daikokuten power will make him advantageous over all of them. The reason the destruction led by Code was the best possible time for Kawaki to start a new revolution is because it was the best trigger for a larger conflict. The people were already tensed by the threat of Code, and Kawaki announcing the revolution should have worked well for one solid reason. He could have somehow made them believe that Code's attack was related to the shinobi system. In this way, people would regard him as a messiah who can take them out of the ninja curse. But the point of view of the great nations won't be the same, and they would definitely send armies of shinobis to deal with Kawaki. While all of them won't be any match for him, the real question lies within the Borukawa fight from the time skip scene. How exactly will Boruto bring Kawaki back to light? He wants all of it to end as a mere disagreement, but Kawaki has went too extreme this time. Well, the answer to this renowned fallout must lie within the scriptures that inspired Kishimoto while writing the story. There are tons of references and inspirations drawn from Buddhism throughout the show. The author has apparently considered siddhis while coming up with the powers and role of Kawaki. They refer to yogic superpowers in Tantric Buddhism. The very first siddhi, Anima, helps one in getting smaller and smaller, which is a straight reference to Sukuna Hikona. Mahima siddhi helps in expanding oneself as much as he desires. This might be a reference to the enormous black cubes manifested by Kawaki's dojutsu. Lajima is another siddhi which allows one to fly, referring to the flight reference dropped by Amado. Karima causes one to become infinitely large, which might also be a reference to the black cubes. Prapti and Prakamya refers to manifestation, which is definitely a reference to Kawaki manifesting his ultimate desire with the help of omnipotence. Istiva refers to supremacy, and in Kawaki's case, it reflects in his behavior which led him to starting a revolution. It might even be a reference of attaining godhood, but let's discuss that later. And finally, Vastava is the power to control living beings and objects, so it might be referring to his fire release or other nature-based manipulations. So now that we know the whole character of Kawaki has been inspired from siddhis, can we conclude something else from these mythologies to solve the time skip puzzle? There is even a concept in Buddhism known as Abhina, which refers to supernatural knowledge, which could be synonymous to Boruto's Jogen. The interesting part is that the first 5 Abhinas are identical with the siddhis. I would be discussing the other 4 in my next video, but the one which happens to fix the time skip mystery is the Divine Eye. It seems to be a straight reference to the Jogen, considering the fact that it has some link with knowing somebody's karmic destinations. So taking this in account in Boruto's case, he might end up seeing the destiny of Kawaki, similar to how Momoshiki saw his fate earlier in the series. Then after realizing that this foreseen fate is viable to change, Boruto would plan accordingly to bring Kawaki down. This means he has been plotting for Kawaki's defeat from the moment he awakened the pure eye. There is another point that I think would help us to understand why Kawaki is going so ruthless. Have you noticed that Kawaki is becoming a psychopath like Ishiki with his new karma? How could the possession of such power drive him so wild? It would be fair to say that Kawaki is one of its kind character who never wanted the power at first place, but the suffering that he had to go through made him grow a special bond with Naruto, which ended up in him becoming a psychopath. There have been cases of fans in real life who have went too far in idolizing their idols. Kawaki's obsession is kinda similar. He ended up in doing what he thought was the best for his family after surpassing each and every one of them. However, the mature path that he's gonna run down would eventually make him realize that he was wrong at many points, from wanting to kill his brother to getting Naruto sealed only to end up in guilt and sorrows. The only hope for the redemption of Kawaki comes from the possibility of Naruto somehow popping in between the fight of Boruto and him. While it's not that likely to happen, but Naruto witnessing the destruction of Konoha and the disastrous actions taken by Kawaki would only lead him to taking his own life. It would be really ironic yet interesting that the cause of Naruto's death would be the love and sympathy that he showed for an unfortunate child. Little does he know that his fate was being rewritten by Boruto as he possessed the pure eye of Otsutsuki's. Now there is some engrossing pattern that I found here. The Dibachaku or the Divine Eye is known to let a user know the karma of other people. By karma, I'm referring to the payback of good and evil deeds that one gets in this life. However, the part which interested me was people getting karma for their deeds from past lives. So what if the reason for Boruto to awaken the Jogen is because he is the reincarnation of an Otsutsuki with the same eye? There are many hints which point at the same, from Boruto having the karma, the Divine Eye, and becoming an Otsutsuki later in life. So what if he is actually a reincarnation of Shibai Otsutsuki? And the reason I think this way has something
something to do with the possible foreshadowing. The philosophy of Buddhism talks about the samsara cycle, which comprises of life, death and rebirth. The interesting part lies within the karma, or the deeds committed by a certain person. It is believed that if someone suffers in this world, it's usually because he has done something wrong in past lives. Taking this into Boruto's account, it could be that him losing everything and then unlocking the Jogen is just an outcome of his counterpart Shibai's actions. The way he lost everything from the power of an Otsutsuki god and then unlocked a divine power also hints at the same. The divine chemistry in Boruto's legacy might only be the impact of Shibai on his life. Maybe after discarding his mortal body, he was reborn as a human being whose destiny was really twisted. A plot twist like this where Boruto might only be dealing with the sins of his past would be really crazy. Finally, I would like to discuss the possibility of Kawaki losing the Great Shinobi War by his own mistake. I get a feeling that Kawaki would seal Aida and Daemon in his separate dimension really soon, and as foreshadowed in this panel, he might end up killing Boruto for real. The only mistake that he would make would be to underestimate Boruto's intellectual capabilities. The lost shinobi could use his karma to reincarnate into another vessel, which would allow him to fake his death to fool Kawaki. If something like this actually ends up happening, it would be as big of a plot twist as omnipotence. But what's even crazy would be the host of Boruto turning out to be Shibai or Otsutsuki, or Boruto's Jogen having powers that are beyond anyone's understanding. Check out these videos to find out more about these theories, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing content. I will see you next time.